People, deluded, I'm back again. Another away trip for Arsenal ends in defeat, 2-0 to Leicester. It is what it is. Before I crack on, congratulations to Leicester. In my opinion, Leicester really and truly didn't have to be at more than 60%, and I'm being kind to Arsenal as a fan, to beat us. They continue their good form, and they should continue. Believe they can get top 4, but keep up this momentum. From, like I said, man, as a neutral football lover, away from my love for Arsenal, you can't help but admire what they're doing as a club, tactically, how they're all doing their thing. And like I said, they deserve their points. Clean sheet against a top 6 side. They knew they was getting 3 points today. Vardy knew he was scoring today. Maddison knew he was doing something today. It is what it is. For Arsenal, Emery's woeful record away from home continues. What's that? 2 clean sheets in 25 attempts, I believe. He did have a similar, he went a whole season without winning away from home at Seville. And the question marks have to be there. For me, Emery's got to go tonight, people. Now, you lot know me. I'm not on this reaction thing. I still somewhat believe there's a part of the season to play for, mathematically. But it looks over, people. It looks like we just need to bring in someone that can coach these players, that's got a way of playing, and move forward with it now. Because it's like I said, Leicester are having to be at 60% to beat us, and I'm being kind to us. It was more a case of what they weren't doing. Now, going into the game, we knew where it was. It's Emery's 50th game in charge. There's mad pressure. Raul, Sanya and Edu were at the game, people. I don't know if any other people around them levels was there. We needed to get a result. You've gone to Sheffield United, you failed. You've gone to Old Trafford and tried to get a victory, you failed. Leicester, based on how they're playing, this was a big chance to put in a convincing performance, people, and we failed to do that. Arsenal fans, let's be honest, we all thought we was gonna get something. Let me move this. We all thought we was gonna get something from the game, innit? I mean, many things that happened in the game was to be expected. The formation took everybody by surprise. You could say it was a 3-4-3, but it was more something along the lines of this. You had 3 at the back, and to be fair with Emery, that's the one thing I'll give him today. The problem where we went wrong is he's being reactionary. Took too long to make substitutions. At 0-0 in the second half, you saw Rodgers, Damari Gray get warmed up. We know Leicester are a great side in the second half. One of the best sides in the Premier League statistically and scoring goals in the second half. How many videos have I said this exact sentence? What was said at half time? As soon as they come out, indeed, their defensive mid is hitting the crossbar. You know what they were on. I don't necessarily agree with Emery's tactics and how he goes about things, but I feel I've been on his case tactically, and I think there wasn't much I could complain with at stages in the game. It was a better start as an Arsenal side from an Arsenal fan's perspective than I thought. He's gone with 3 at the back. He's gone with his 3 best ball playing centre halves you could deem. Shout out to Chambers, because I feel if anybody had a decent game from an Arsenal perspective, it's him and him alone. Ozil's okay. Obviously he's gone with the wing backs. He's gone with Guendouzi and Torreira through whether it's needs muscle, whatever. They're kind of dynamic. Ozil is there. But if you look at it, Ozil is pressing in the middle, and it's like our strikers were going like here, Aubameyang and Lacazette respectively. Now people were rotating at times, but I couldn't complain, because I can see the logic behind who we're going with and what not, people, and why we're playing these players. I can't fault that at all. I see why he was making Aubameyang and Lacazette do that, kind of just trying to discourage the balls out to Pereira and Chilwell, the fullbacks. We all know how good Leicester's fullbacks are. So I didn't really have complaints with the lineup or the formation beyond my own bias. Now, obviously, when I see certain players on the bench and I think away from home, when teams are against us, we need an outlet. It weren't there. Emery again bottled it because, again, he's thought about the opposition and the threat. And I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but he's tried to make us compact and have some shape. And to be fair, we did do that. But we're not that side. You haven't coached us to the level where these players can concentrate for large periods defensively. Because even before Leicester scored, people, you're seeing midfield runners, people. We did have a decent first half by our standards in an away game. I did feel there were, throughout the whole game, there was only really passages where it became a bit open for us to exploit. But really, we're pending our own half in both halves, really. More so in the second, exaggerated more in how he's playing. And we're pending our own half. It's mainly Leicester. Like, we didn't really dominate the game or show what we could do in an offensive sense. predicted, but we lost the midfield battle. The only saving grace is the rare times we did get forward. We looked like we could score. We looked like we could be us outscored them sort of thing. Obviously, Lacazette, he was woeful today. I'm one of Lacazette's biggest fans, but he had 3-4 chances in that first half to score. I don't feel like Aubameyang had the best of games. Midfield, obviously, when there's no midfield in general, nothing is going to happen, is it? And it goes back to the tactics. Obviously, a big reason as to why he went with the formation he did was to try and combat the high energy Leicester have. But you can see Vardy making the runs in. And to be fair, Arsenal, we was catching life a lot of times, a lot of low hit driven balls into the box. And on another day, you see a Leicester man or some other player in another team take advantage and whatnot. I did feel we were sloppy in possession at times. I don't feel we were as bad as we normally were in the first half, but we was inventing our own problems. Miscommunication at the back. I feel Leno's distribution was quite poor. I feel centre-halves and full-backs, they're all getting caught in possession. Everybody's making poor. Lacazette did it once, Aubameyang as well. Just poor passes, and it really bugs me how one misplayed pass just messes up our whole team and we can completely be outdone. Sloppy passes, just inventing pressure onto ourselves in the first half. Second half, like I said, what he said, because we lost it. There was probably a minute in the second half where it became a bit open for both teams and it looked like discipline from both respective sides was going out the window. But for me, Leicester showed why they're in the top 4 positions and we're talking about getting rid of the manager. And you could hear Leicester fans mocking it, people. Like I said, their defensive mid is hitting the crossbar. They're moving mad. They're on trying to score, people. And we're catching life. But again, when players start to get tired and on top of being poorly concentrated anyways, mistakes start happening. People start switching off. Their first goal from an Arsenal perspective is similar. People, go on my Instagram because YouTube wouldn't let me upload it. But I made a tactical vid of all the goals we conceded so far, excluding the Europa League goals against Victoria. I had to remove them because copyright issues for Instagram. But I removed them. And it's the same goals, people. I'm going to wait for my tactics vid. But Vardy makes a run for the defenders and then he scores. There's about 4 or 5 players. Nobody's looking over their shoulder or aware where Jamie Vardy is. If you're going to do that against someone who's got 10 or so goals this season, someone that if you've been watching the Premier League is a Premier League legend for respective to what he's done and is a born goal scorer, he's a gunman in front of goal, he's one of the most lethal strikers in the Prem, let alone against Arsenal where he's been scoring braces and whatnot. You know how many people must have had him as their fantasy league captain and Jamie Vardy anytime and whatnot. And in our last game he scored. You lose him, you lose the match. It is what it is. Second goal, similar circumstances. Again, Vardy's unmarked. He didn't score this time. It fell to Barnes. Do you know what? Leicester are laughing because if I'm honest, Leicester, if Arsenal got something from this game, it would have been Leicester's fault. Because if Brendan Rodgers and them man, they are honest, I feel they were quality. But if they're really on it, there's been harder games definitely this season that they've had to fight harder to get 3 points. Even last week against Palace was harder than that. We didn't really pose any threat. How many chances of significance did we have? How much authority did we have on the ball? We didn't do anything, people. And it's the same old, and it just seems like it's the beginning of the end. I mean, the statistics are dead, people. Like, my phone's even freezing. I screenshotted it. They had 19 shots to our 8. We had 1 on target. They had 7. They had 477 passes and we had 463. Now that's very close, but for me, look at the intent with Leicester. Leicester, are not just having possession for the sake of having possession. Again, we have no ideas. Again, I feel Ozu and Aubameyang and them and there, when they did connect, it was decent, but the finishing weren't there. But generally, we're not fashioning chances. There's no identity in this team, and as long as there's no identity, as long as the team's not able to impose themselves offensively or be difficult to break down and not allow cheap goals like the 2 Leicester scored for, as good as I think Leicester were, then these results are always going to happen, people, and you can forget about top 4. All optimism, I feel a lot of fans felt guilty of optimism. We were very pessimistic in the summer. We saw some good business, obviously, with Emery in second season and hoping, learning from your previous wrongs and things. You had a bit of hope, but it's the hope that dies last, and the hope's fully well died. And I still think there's something to play for this season. I still think top 4 is there, but you lot know me. I want Emery to leave, but I didn't necessarily feel it would solve any problems if he left any other day prior to today. I think just let him go, bring someone in that knows how to coach, and just, you know, right off the season, because we're not going to get top 4. Liverpool and City are nailed on. Chelsea, unless a blip of form happens, it's a myth. If Leicester continue, they complicate matters. Obviously, United are bottling it like us, but the longer we keep bottling, teams can advance us on us. And also from an Arsenal perspective, it's very disappointing that we've gone into another game where we know what we need to do. Fair enough, United are playing tomorrow, I believe, but we know what we need to do in that they lost last week. If you win, you put pressure on them, even though we're not necessarily worried about them like that right now. Spurs have dropped points against Sheffield United. Do you see what I'm saying to you people? You know Chelsea have won their games. These are I'm not saying to look at your rivals, but the ramifications of losing and drawing games have big effects. And we are now approaching a dangerous period as an Arsenal fan. We have got Chelsea, United, Palace away in that December period, thick and fast, that December, early January. And if Emery's going to be here, just saying it's got to get better. It's got to get worse before it gets better. Is what it is. Top four. The club has come out and said that top four is vital this season. The club, you've seen reports, the club stand to lose 45 million if they miss out on Champions League. The longer we stop playing attractive football and stop being in Champions League football, the more Arsenal loses any sort of attraction for big players and whatnot. And with Aubameyang and Lacazette's contracts up, who weren't necessarily good today, but 9 times out of 10 make the difference. What is going to attract players to this club? The future of this club is in the balance, and people above Emery need to act and act now, people. Like I've been saying for a couple of weeks, if Raul Sanllehi and them man there have not been having informal drinks and meetings with managers, whether they're established managers or lesser known people, in the event that this Emery thing, like I believe, needs to be clipped on its head and moved on, then there's serious issues, people. Serious. In fact, there's latest Twitter rumours, so don't take it like anything, but that the club can't literally afford to sack Emery. So we've got ourselves in another contractual situation sort of mess if them sort of rumours are true. But we deserve to lose. We weren't at it. Like it's probably a better defeat than Arsenal was expecting, or a better performance in a game where we've lost points than many Arsenal fans would expect. But it's stale, disappointing, lifeless, and again, it shows me that these players haven't got it, because, like I said, you know what other rivals have done today, and you know what you need to do. You know the form Leicester's in. You know that the media and everybody, and probably even people in these players' close circles, did not expect them to win today. It's raining, it's away. All of these things make it harder and difficult for you to get 3 points, and you've got to fight through that and put more of a performance in. So, and we've shown we can't do it. So between not being able to fight or won't fight or just simply can't fight, that's got to be on Emery's head now, man. It's got to come to an end. Even being reactionary, like Rodgers is 0-0. Rodgers is the one making substitutions. You're not trying to bring on Pepe. You're not thinking Chilwell in this second half is starting to go on top of us and get forward a bit more because we're not pressing. Why don't I bring on Pepe, who's got relative fresh legs because he hasn't started the game? Reactionary substitutions. You're only making subs when we've got to go down. Like, Emery's not the man for this role. I would love to sit here in the future and say DG, you was tweaking in this vid, but Emery shows me week in, week out that he's not the man for this role. He hasn't got the minerals. He has not got the credentials to take this club forward. He is not able to do it. He's just not able to do it. He's shown he's not able to do it. I haven't seen his post-game comments, but he'll probably come out and say he thinks we played well. No doubt. And the fact that my body is now malfunctioning tells you everything, people. But keep your spirits up, Arsenal fans, man. It's got to the point. There's no point letting the result affect you. Of course, I'm saying that this result bugs me, and I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to do a tactics vid in a second. But it's what it is, man. It's just the latest disappointment on what's been disappointing from a disappointing manager. I mean, all Arsenal values in terms of winning through harmony, bravery, courage, Emery doesn't reflect a damn thing, and we've been hoodwinked. We have been hoodwinked. There's not one player thriving consistently in that side through Emery's coaching, excluding Aubameyang just being an elite goal scorer. There's no authority on the game. It's another game where we've chopped and changed, whether I've necessarily disagreed with what he did or had an issue or not. There's just, you don't know what Arsenal are about, and if that's the wrong sort of uncertainty, people. It's not that we're unpredictable and teams don't know how to play us because we're so well coached and we can play several formations. We've got a manager who just doesn't know his best team, and it's if you do not know your best team, if you cannot play a team, if you cannot have a reflection of your right coaching identity, you're not the man for this position, and he's not. Sack Emery tonight, people. It is what it is now, man. I'm going to drink some Red Stripe and relax and rate F and them things there. But on that note, people, deluded, I'm out.